Motherfucker. Okay. So, this is a video discussing how bad we are at predicting anything
Yeah.
ever, particularly within the realm of sports,
Yeah.
and even more particularly within the realm of NFL football, which, for those of you who don't know, is a professional American football league founded in the United States of America with 32 teams, 8 divisions among 2 conferences. If we were to put money on this, which we haven't actually done sports betting in a long time, at least I haven't.
Yeah.
About you, we would be bankrupt.
Yeah.
And might have to drop out of uni.
Yeah, we'd probably like win 1 or 2 maybe, and then get full of ourselves, and then just lose it all from there because we're pretty bad at it, to be honest.
Without further ado, let's go over the conference championships. AFC and NFC championships both happened this weekend. NFC happened last Sunday in the afternoon. A lot of people were wondering why the NFC matchup wasn't the primetime slot, considering how it was 2 very decidedly Hall of Fame quarterbacks between Aaron Rodgers, who is about to have, his 3rd MVP now this season, and Tom Brady, who's also, I think, gotten 3 MVPs maybe.
I think so.
And not to mention that Tom Brady now is going to his 10th Super Bowl.
Tom Brady is more likely to go to the Super Bowl than Steph Curry is to make a 3.
It's true.
Steph Curry has a 43% chance of making a 3, and Tom Brady has a 47% chance of making it to the Super Bowl because he's been in the league for 21 years now, and he's been into 10 Super Bowls, so it's pretty crazy. And all of his playoff numbers too. He's almost doubled Peyton Manning, which is a sad sight, in passing yards in the playoffs.
Right.
I think Tom Brady's at 12,000 and Peyton Manning is at 7,000. Not quite double, but almost. But that's just how significant Tom Brady is in the playoffs and how dominant he has been, even on a different team.
Here's the other thing. You made that comparison between Steph Curry and Tom Brady. Steph Curry revolutionized the 3-point shot. Reggie Miller before him probably did an equal amount of that as well. But Steph Curry within this era is far more iconic, I would say. And he actually just surpassed Reggie Miller's all-time 3-point shot made. So that was a big deal, and it makes people find ways to get into the NBA and help win and just change the game and how it's played. Whereas Tom Brady, on the other hand, makes you wonder why you're still playing.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Because this guy, more often than not, is just going to make it to conference championship and then beyond that. And so if you're not on his team, I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say you're a 7th round draft potential pick, right? And you're waiting there wondering, man, if I get drafted, I'll probably just nothing will happen with my career or whatever. Not to say that, people haven't made it from being a 7th round pick before, but whatever.
Tom Brady was a 6th round pick.
It's true, but not 7th round. And you're just waiting there, right? Wondering who you're going to get picked by. If you get picked by the Buccaneers, fuck yes, you're going to be winning because Tom Brady's on your team. If you get picked by anyone else, might as well just say, never mind.
Yeah, because if you're on a Tom Brady team, Patriots, Buccaneers, or any other team, it's a guaranteed championship round playoff, or at least you're going to make it to the championship round. So it's just crazy, his career. No one's like him. I say he's the most accomplished player in the entire league.
Of course.
And Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in the league. Now, Patrick Mahomes is making a case for most talented, but I said this to Titus the other day, but Aaron Rodgers has a longevity, or vice versa. I think you said it to me.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers just have longevity over Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I say he's more talented as of now. But if Patrick Mahomes does continue this, succession of being so talented over a long period of time, then I would put Patrick Mahomes as more talented than Aaron Rodgers, just from his accomplishments and just how he plays.
I would also say Aaron Rodgers had the single most impressive MVP season. And I forget which one that was, but I think it may have been his second maybe his first. I actually don't know. One of his MVP seasons was probably the most impressive MVP seasons anyone's ever had. Even more impressive than Peyton Manning's touchdown record breaking in a single season because, Peyton Manning did have that, but he didn't have the consistency and influence over his team that Aaron Rodgers did that season, because Peyton Manning also had a great supporting cast with his defense and whatnot.
Yeah.
And not to say Aaron Rodgers had nothing, but I think when we talk about most valuable, he probably just was a bit over him in that regard. And I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. Don't get me wrong. Okay? Let me tell you. And also, I will say that my whole Tom Brady spiel was a bit exaggerative. I'm not as big on him as that may have come off. Sometimes you do have to sit back and wonder what's the point.
Yeah, and I mean, young QBs in the U.S. or in America are wanting the talents of Aaron Rodgers, but accomplishments of Tom Brady, because I feel like Aaron Rodgers gets all the spotlight with talent, and it's just fun being Aaron Rodgers, I would assume. It's kind of boring being Tom Brady, but because he doesn't really move much, but you also want the accomplishments of Tom Brady as well, being in the big light constantly. But it's the best of both worlds, and I think that's what we're seeing in Patrick Mahomes, having the best of both worlds. We just have to see if he actually starts winning Super Bowls, which he did. But we can get to that later and go more in depth. But let's go.
Here's the other thing though about Tom Brady is that within this game specifically, he didn't have a good game. He threw three interceptions, and they were all in the last half.
Mm-hmm.
Same amount of his touchdowns. He didn't lead in passing yards either. Aaron Rodgers did. And I don't know, maybe his completion rates, I can't tell just based off of the fraction alone whether that was a better completion rate or not, but it's not like it was so much better. But somehow Tom Brady found the way to win, and that was from a great start early. It was a 21-10 at half, and sometimes that's all it really takes. And defense really did amazing, and far more than what I thought Buccaneers defense was able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is considering the fact that they did hold Aaron Rodgers to basically nothing the first time around this regular season. I just didn't think they could repeat that success, given that this is the MVP of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it, and props to them. Davante Adams did not have the most receiving yards. In fact, it was Marquez. We both said he would have the most receiving yards. And we were both right about Aaron Rodgers having the most passing yards. But Davante Adams couldn't do his thing. Everyone was talking about the Jalen Ramsey versus Davante Adams matchup. Davante Adams did fine. What happened here? I really don't know. I think it was just really the schemes and coverage were just superior.
I think they focused a lot more on Davante Adams than the Rams did, and the Bucs defense is really stepping up in this playoffs, because we saw glimpses over the regular season that they can be a great defense, but they struggled throughout in certain games throughout the regular season. But they're definitely making a comeback for at least this playoff run. And it's not like Davante Adams had a bad game at all. He had 9 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. But comparatively to what he usually does, it's not anything big. Mm-hmm. And so the Bucs defense was able to shut down Davante Adams. And if you shut down Davante Adams, then you basically shut down the entire offense of Green Bay, because as shown in this game, they didn't really do much. Aaron Rodgers also had a decent game as well. 33 completions for 48 yards, or 48 attempts for 46 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. So it's not like he played bad. It's just that he can't finish games like we've seen in the championship games.
Not that it was his fault either.
Yeah.
Listen, he had many opportunities to get the touchdowns in the red zone. And that is not to say that he wasn't given those opportunities. He did have many still. Regardless, he wasn't given the end of it. The last chance. He wasn't given a last chance, 4th downs, stuff like that. And I feel like that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
Because this is the MVP of all the quarterbacks in the league, who I'd say go for it. You are not a field goal behind. You're more than a field goal behind. You need a touchdown to win, or at least 2 scores. And a field goal and another field goal maybe would have done it. But instead, they just went for the 1 field goal. And all Tom Brady needed, reminder, this is Tom Christ Brady. All he needed was a 1st down.
Yeah, and that's what he did. I don't know where to blame because I don't necessarily blame the Packers defense for this loss. Yeah, they gave up a shit ton of points in the first half, but they only let up, a touchdown and a field goal, 10 points in the second half, and had 3 interceptions.
Right, defense was not the problem.
Yeah, I think it's just lack of weapons for Aaron Rodgers to play with because his only weapon is Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, maybe, but Aaron Jones is not playing lights out every single week.
They gave Jamal Williams more carries.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
I don't know if Aaron Jones was out or just the lack of using him, but he should have definitely been used more because he was averaging 4.5 yards per carry, which is pretty crazy in this league. His receivers aren't that great. I mean, you got Marquez. I don't know how to pronounce his last.
Valdez-Scantling,
but he's a deep threat. He got a deep threat once in a while on Devontae Adams, arguably the best receiver in the league. But other than that, he doesn't really have any weapons to play around with.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they weren't prepared offensively.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers did fine. He did throw the very rare interception. We rarely ever see that. Overall, it was just I feel like lack of preparation because especially with that offensive line. Now, granted, they're all-pro left tackle is out, but even on all sides, even through the middle, that defensive line was killing them.
Maybe an O-line problem then. I don't really know too much about Packers O-line.
Mm-hmm.
So
and think of Devontae Adams. What do we know about him? The deep ball, right?
Yeah.
But they couldn't even get Devontae Adams far out enough before Aaron Rodgers was getting sacked.
So it's probably an O-line problem. I say the most important position in the entire league is the O-line and then the quarterback position, because if you don't have an O-line, then you can't give any time to your quarterback, and even the greatest quarterbacks of all time need at least a couple of seconds to throw the ball. Even Tom Brady, when getting pressured, is not doing good. Aaron Rodgers, when pressured,
pretty bad under pressure.
Quarterbacks just aren't good under pressure. It's a very select few. Even the best at escaping the pressure, quote unquote, like Russell Wilson, Deshaun, Patrick Mahomes, the best of the best, still get sacked. And when pressured a lot and getting hit a lot, they're flustered and they don't know what to do. And more likely than not, they're going to lose. So if you have a consistently bad O-line like the Eagles did in the regular season, then you're not going to win in this league, as shown in this game.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You don't need in-depth analysis for it. It's just like lack of preparation. And, you should always consider depth. Yes, you can be surrounded with all pros. Similar to the Seahawks, honestly. Think about Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. Who else do you want to talk about? Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. On both sides of the ball. Those are great guys worthy of a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, whatever you want to give them. And yet, it was a first-round exit. Because depth matters.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose one of them for whatever reason, or they just have a bad game, then you're done.
Yep. I guess a quick rundown of our predictions. I don't know if we went fully into it. We both picked the Packers to win. Wrong. Titus said a 27-23 score game, and I said 24 to 20 point game, score game. We were both wrong there. We both said Aaron Rodgers. We were right. That was only our right predictions. We both said Devontae Adams as the receiving leader. Wrong there. We both said Ronald Jones II as the rushing leader. Wrong there. And we both said Chris Godwin would score the first touchdown, and we were both wrong there. First touchdown came from Mike Evans. Yeah. Rushing leader was Leonard Fournette, and receiving leader was Marquez.
Yeah, so Leonard Fournette had a really cool touchdown moment that I thought was also worth noting because I haven't seen much from Leonard. He was taken by the Buccaneers with open arms, saying, "You're finally on a good team now."
Mm-hmm.
And he had some fumble issues and was taken out of games for that. Just because fumble once, you're not going to get a lot of carries the rest of the game, basically. And Ronald Jones kind of took over in that regard, but he actually had a great playoff game. He had the rushing yard leader, even though it was just 55 yards. It was not a very rushing competition between the Packers and Buccaneers.
Yeah.
But he did get that one touchdown, which I thought was a very impressive sequence in avoiding the tackles and then diving for the orange cylinder or whatever that you call it.
Yeah, that drive leading up to that Leonard Fournette touchdown was crazy because first it didn't look like that drive was going anywhere because you got the first drop of Chris Godwin and he was like, oh, this is just going to be a regular drive. But then the bomb, an amazing catch by Chris Godwin the very next play, and that just goes to show you how great Tom Brady is because he went to the same guy again, even after he dropped it the first time, and he had that much trust into him. And that's what wins games. And Tom Brady was right. He threw a bomb to Chris Godwin right after he dropped it. He caught it, had an amazing catch. It was a falling down. He jumped in the air. I don't even know how to explain it. Caught, and then the very next play was the Leonard Fournette touchdown. So it was a crazy sequence of plays.
It was. Yeah, everyone started going about the rumors with Aaron Rodgers, will he remain in Green Bay and whatever, and then he came on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and basically said that's just something I kind of say every season because it's just a realization he had that there was no certainty at any point that you could remain somewhere. Even if you're really good, you could also be kind of old and they want to have a rebuild or something like that. Like a lot of things could potentially come into play regardless of your performance in the moment, right? And I think that's all he was trying to say, is that there was discussions to be had, but his gut feeling was that he was staying, or I think it was what he was alluding to. So,
is he a regular on the Pat McAfee show? Because I feel like
every week.
Yeah, really?
Every Tuesday. Oh my!
It was fully charged when Yo, it wasn't recording. What the fuck? I pressed start. Dude, we have the audio, right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is that I just put like a picture of Disgruntled logo or whatever, and then we can just start recording from this point on.
Okay.
I swear I pressed record button.
That is so funny. Welcome to the video portion of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking about how Aaron Rodgers is a weekly regular on the Pat McAfee show. They have a great relationship. Aaron Rodgers goes into depth about every game throughout the regular season, even the playoffs, actually. You know, sometimes it's very short, just depending on his schedule. You know, what workouts he has every week and whatever. But sometimes, as was the case this week, because of obvious reasons, he had a 40-minute segment on the show. And Pat McAfee always has notes. His journalistic integrity has been questioned many times because he's a very entertaining, a color commentator, as what some people would kind of call it. But he does come prepared every time Aaron Rodgers is on the show. Anytime any guest is on the show, I would say, with notes and just like little things that people wouldn't notice in games or on broadcast that he notices because he actually did have the experience on the field as an actual NFL player, a Pro Bowler, in fact. Very interesting stuff. I would very much suggest everyone check that out if you haven't already. I'm sure you've at least seen clips on social media because Aaron Rodgers is just he has great answers. I
just always, because I watch like clips of the Pat McAfee show here and there, usually when he talks about the Eagles or something interesting happens. And then I just always see Aaron Rodgers like weekly on that show. And it's usually for like a good, decent amount of time. And I'm like, is he like a regular or like when did that start? Or
yeah, it was at the very beginning of the season. Yeah. Very cool stuff. Actually.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, especially since it's MVP season as well. Just watching them sort of start to debate like, oh, is he in the running? And then, oh, he's definitely the front runner. And then yeah, definitely. And then, oh, he is the MVP. It's like that progression over time was just like a nice narrative to watch. And yeah, AJ Hawk is always one of the other guys who like asks Aaron Rodgers questions because he was also a teammate. So
he's always smoking a big cigar during it.
Without fail.
Yeah,
it's great.
I was just smirking earlier because I have the Packers scoreboard up. I searched Packers and I scroll down a little bit and there's Aaron Rodgers news article. Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show allowed me to silence the douchebag. So I just thought it was kind of ironic or a coincidence. I mean that it came up while we were talking about it.
He's a big fan of the show. He'll even mention like some of the earlier segments, so it's clear that he's watching even when he's not on.
Do you want to get to the Chiefs game now?
Yeah, enough about those old guys.
Mm-hmm.
Irrelevant. Let's talk about the new gen Chiefs Bills primetime matchup. The marquee. You got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Two of also, I would say, the front runners of the MVP discussion. Aaron Rodgers, the older guy, beat him out. But, these are the two guys that you can expect to duke it out throughout these next at least 10 years.
Yeah.
I would say. Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's football. It's a dangerous game. Anything can happen.
This was a weird game because it was something that was expected and was not expected at the same time, if that makes sense. Because it was a blowout. We should expect that the Chiefs can blow out any team at this point, at any time.
Yeah.
So that's like a common theme. But the thing that was kind of unexpected is that we all thought that this was going to be a closer game than it was, and that the Bills would have the Chiefs number. And everyone's been saying that this has kind of been like the Super Bowl matchup, or should be the Super Bowl matchup. And the Chiefs just destroyed the Bills. So if this was the second best team, second best team in the league, and the Chiefs destroyed them, then I don't know what they're going to do with the Bucks.
Yeah, I always told people that Bucks were the worst of the Final Four, and defense obviously has moments where they're well prepared, but I don't know a team that is better prepared than the Chiefs. Usually, like I would say that they're the most prepared team.
Yeah.
Not just the best, but they're the most prepared in all three phases. Packers just got caught off guard, but Chiefs in the Super Bowl could not imagine that happening.
Yeah.
At least a close game. I don't know. But we're not going to get into the Super Bowl preview yet. That's not this episode. What'd you notice from this matchup on the Bills side? Obviously, we know the Chiefs does what they do, but what did the Bills do wrong?
I think, we missed the first quarter, but we watched second half to the last game, the last couple of quarters, but I think the Bills just got too cocky. Maybe they started off to a fast lead, 9-0, and I feel like they let off some horses. The Chiefs just went away. Andy Reid is known for, or at least on the Eagles, known for giving away the first 10 plays, because usually the teams go into a game with like 10 plays or whatever that they're going to call. And
people say that Belichick scripts his whole game,
but usually Andy Reid was known for, when he was on the Eagles, is that he showed teams what he was going, like the scheme or the play that he was going to happen throughout the game, and that was kind of his kryptonite, because teams found that, saw it, and Andy Reid just couldn't bounce back from it, because he showed all the plays that that he was going to play throughout the game. And I think Andy Reid's learned that to not show his best plays early in the game.
Yeah.
Or right away. And I think this is the case, because they scored 21 points in the second quarter. Mm-hmm. And from there, since the second quarter, the Bills had no shot.
I would also like to brag that the Colts were one of the most successful teams on their first drives, which is typically when the scripted plays happen. So I'd like to say that Frank Reich has the best scripted plays in the entire league. That's just my little brag. A lot of people questioned his decision making after the scripted plays, but anyways, I would say that the Bills just weren't ambitious enough. I think it was also a kind of mix of inexperience. Obviously, they just won 2 games in the playoffs, so they're not that inexperienced. But this is the Chiefs. They just won the Super Bowl, and they just had a very good playoff game against the Browns. This is just familiar territory for the Chiefs, whereas like the further the Bills get into the playoffs, the more and more they just don't know what to expect. Yeah. I guess, but at the same time, they're always like learning more about playoff football as well.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation, because it was their first home game in how many years with the Colts, and then they won that, and it's like, oh, now we're in the divisional round. When was the last time that this happened? And then they won that, and it's like, whoa, conference championships? When was the last time that this happened?
Yeah.
It was just that whole thing. I think they'll do way better about that next year. Just like, oh, we've gone through all 3. We can, easily bounce back and be more comfortable in those scenarios this time. That was their only away game in the playoffs as well. I think that would also probably factor into it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of teams really do better at home field versus away. Like that is a big thing for some teams. Packers, that's actually a big deal. Even though they did just lose at home.
And I was just gonna go off on the ambitious thing that you said earlier too. It's to beat teams this great, and the Kansas City Chiefs is looking like a next dynasty to replace the Patriots, hopefully. But to beat a team this good and this great, you have to go for risky plays. And the Bills just did not do that at all. Because to go back to the Eagles Super Bowl real quick, I think the only reason why we beat Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots in the Super Bowl is because you got Doug Peterson, Frank Wright, doing ballsy plays, going for it on fourth down.
And that's the
fourth
thing.
Down. Fucking Philly special.
Special, yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that a lot of Colts fans, we're not that used to it, maybe is part of the issue. With, Frank Reich's very ambitious sort of plays and use of analytics and whatever. When he feels like he's got to go for it, it's like without second thought kind of thing. And that didn't work out against the Bills, mainly because of just execution flaws. And so people immediately went backwards and kind of was just like questioning his decision making, like why go for it on fourth down, why not just go for the field goal, blah 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 blah. And clearly the conference championships are two great examples of where people didn't go for it and it didn't work out for them. Packers went for the field goal, they lost. Bills went for how many fucking field goals, they lose. And it's just like Frank Reich literally told the media, is like, I've been to how many Super Bowls now as a player and as a assistant coach and then as an offensive coordinator. Like, don't question it. I know how to play playoff football. I know how to play playoff football. Just let me do my thing. I'll make sure players are better prepared to execute it in the coming years, but that's something that takes time, right?
To beat a good team, you need touchdowns. You can't win off of field goals, and I guess that's one of the Bills' flaws too, tying it to not being risky enough. And so I guess that's where Bills collapsed. I guess a quick rundown of our predictions real quick, and then we can go more in depth into a player if felt like. Do you want to take this over since I did it last time? Or
Sure. We both said Chiefs. That was kind of an obvious thing for both of us. Except for the fact that back then we didn't know Patrick Mahomes was actually going to play, which it was confirmed he would, and he did a great job. I said 31-28, which I underestimated Chiefs, and I overestimated the Bills. You said 35-34, way closer.
Yeah.
And way higher overall. And so you way overestimated the Bills, but you slightly overestimated the Chiefs. The 38-24 is the final score there. We both thought that Josh Allen would have the most passing yards just because I feel like within Andy Reid's offense, I wouldn't say any of the running backs are like clear, like RB1s that like you're going to use no matter what, kind of like the Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry's within the AFC South. They have a lot within their hand, Darrell Williams, McCole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that they kind of use in a rotation very effectively. Like, think back to Clyde Edwards' debut. He did really amazing because of the cycle of the running backs. You know, you could never really be sure which one was going to run it and what setup. And so it's kind of just like the mysterious aspect of the Chiefs' play calling. And so I think it works very well for the Chiefs, is what I'm trying to say, and that Patrick Mahomes usually doesn't get to accumulate as many passing yards as you'd think from a premier quarterback. Whereas Josh Allen, he does do that within his offense. He does get most of the plays done through passing, and while they have a kind of cycle type running game as well, it's definitely nowhere near as used as the Chiefs one. And so that's kind of, I think, where both of our heads were at.
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes said, fuck you. I don't care about fucking concussion. I'm going to fucking come out.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I think that also helped from, like, coming from behind. That's sort of the nature of football. When coming from behind, you got to throw downfield. And he did. He fucking chucked that rock. Good on him. Tyreek Hill had the most receiving yards as kind of as that goes. Just like, you know, if the quarterback's going to start chucking it because they're from behind, you better bet that the number one wide receiver is going to accumulate all those yards. So Tyreek Hill, definitely a great game, and Travis Kelce also had a really great game too.
Yeah.
Both of those guys had a lot of receiving yards. We thought the same kind of mentality, since Josh Allen was going to be throwing it a lot, that one of the Bills guys, either Stephon Diggs, who I said, Cole Beasley, you said, would be accumulating those receiving yards. And let's kind of look at where they ended up. Cole Beasley, 88, Stephon Diggs, 77.
I mean,
not their best. Cole Beasley leading his team, like, that's actually, like, as much as people praise Stephon Diggs for being one of the best receivers in the league, Cole Beasley actually has done this many times where he's beaten him out in singular game receiving yards.
Yep.
But fucking Hill and Kelce, 100-yarders, both of them.
Yeah.
Hill nearly getting to the 200-yard point without even getting 10 receptions. So, fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So he had 9 receptions, 172 yards, a 19.1 average. And my new tight end that we traded over fantasy, and I'm definitely going to keep for next year. But he had a 13 reception, 118 yards, and 2 touchdown kind of game. In fantasy, that quick math, that's what? 13 plus 11 is 24. Plus 12 is 36. So probably 36.8 fantasy points in our league. So that's a big game from him. Even when, like, fantasy is not going on, I always kind of in the back of my mind, like, do you like fantasy, like, scoreboards or, like, statistics like that? Because it's, like, always interesting to see if we were playing fantasy, how many points they would actually get. But since it's the playoffs, fantasy is over. That's why you always see me saying, keep mentioning fantasy stuff throughout these podcasts in the playoffs.
Yeah, so he got the 2 touchdowns. I mean, both of us said Travis Kelce for first touchdown, but it was a different tight end who would get it. And that was Dawson Knox, who I don't think I even had heard of.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, Josh Allen's always throwing to one of his receivers. So, wide receivers, I should say. And the most rushing yards randomly was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Over Darrell Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which respectively we said. So, there you have it. We just could not get any of those kind of prop things right.
We're kind of doing bad in predicting with them.
These playoff props have not been great. I think wildcard went a lot better than we could have imagined, and that wasn't even that great.
Yeah, we're flopping on. We're doing good predicting who's going to win the games, but other than that, we've been flopping on everything else.
Yeah, we're pretty used to predicting who wins the games from the past 17 weeks, but the other things, we just think about fantasy. We don't think about first touchdown or most yards in a game or final scores. We just like who wins and who can get the fantasy points. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. We only got 2 right. Aaron Rodgers getting the most passing yards and the Chiefs winning. That's the only 2 that we've gotten right.
25 points. So going to the Super Bowl, even though this is not a Super Bowl preview, just kind of preluding that. I have 105 points. And Caleb has 135 points, and there's 120 points each on the line. So it's not done. It's not done.
100% not done. That's what I can guarantee. And we're going to reveal the prediction columns or thingy kebabs next week. So we're going to do another little podcast. This was a shorter end because we were just reviewing 2 games. Longer than I expected it would to be honest, but
well, I just feel like we knew that we wouldn't have much else content to fill, so we were just rambling more than we usually would. So
yeah, but next podcast we're going to go over the award shows for the NFL and
NFL honors.
Ayo, because we made some predictions, and for that way back in the beginning of the season. First week, baby.
Everyone knows how first week predictions go. That's gonna be spicy. So.
Yeah. So I honestly forget what I picked, so it's kind of exciting to reveal because we're not going to reveal it now, but we're going to reveal what we predicted and who actually won. So we're going to go over that, and then we're going to predict and do a preview of the Super Bowl. So that's going to be next week. And the week after is we're going to be recapping the Super Bowl, and that's it for this season, baby. Unless if we keep doing more. We may do like some like non-football talk and keep in the League of the Wings podcast, but that's still up in the air. But I guess thanks for watching.
Maybe
and love
some
you.
off-season updates as well.
Yeah.
We did that whole draft thing last year. We could probably do a kind of live draft special again. Who knows?
That'd be cool. We could probably do like YouTube Live or whatever. That would be funny if we set up a YouTube Live.
Yeah, that'd be fun, I guess. But
All
Just
right.
kind of set up one monitor where we watch the draft and we're speaking at camera.
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. Peace out.
All right. Peace out. Love you guys.